It's a common enough question. People want to know how to sharpen their gouge. I'm going to show you the method that I use that has worked for me throughout my working life. I use regular flat stones. I've got a couple of gouges here. Doesn't matter which size of gouge, big one, small one, they all use the same technique, same method. So I'm going to put fluid. This is just auto glass cleaner on here just to lubricate the stone to make sure that the particles of grit, the steel, the grit from the diamonds float off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two methods. One is just the roll method where we take the gouge onto the plate here. This is the coarse, medium and super fine. So I've got 250, 600 and 1200 here. So I go on here and I just literally roll the gouge along its bevel. So I'm working on the bevel as well as the cutting edge, and I work back and forth along here. So I start here, roll and come to the outcut there, back, roll back, so you can see I'm rolling in both directions, and then the operation speeds up because you can go quite fast with this. Then you flip to this next stone and you work the whole of the bevel. Now on most gouges the bevel is going to be slightly convex. Sometimes it's dead flat. This depends on the carver, but I want to get right to this cutting edge. So I start up here, roll it at around 30 degrees, and then I drop my hand here. So I'm lower down here. So this cutting edge is not catching. So I'm catching the whole bevel. This is maintenance mode. Same on this one. So I start at my 30. And then drop. Now that bevel can change. It depends on what you're carving. Carving gouges are very different than regular chisels. So here I've got most of the bevel. I'm happy with what I have got. I've got a slight burr on the inside of here. And I'm going to go from here to a strop. Now you can use a flat strop. You don't need a hollow, but you can create a hollow if you want to. Take a gouge here, gouge here, and then work along here and create a gouged hollow in there. But on this width of a gouge I can go on here, so I charge this with buffing compound just like this. This is an abrasive suspended in wax, and I pull this and I roll to catch the whole of the bevel, and I might do this 30-40 times to get the whole of the bevel polished out. Work from one side to the other like this. Now you'll notice that the inside of this gouge is highly polished out. This just happens to be this maker. Here's another one. It's not wholly polished out, but it's still very, very smooth, just not shiny. Right here you may be able to see a very crisp, bright line right behind the cutting edge. I'll show you how we get that in a minute. But we still have a burr on this inside edge here. We're polishing the bevel here, so we're getting this. So keep going until you feel like you've got an equal shine across the whole of the bevel. That means you've got an equal surface cutting along the bevel too. Polish out, and then when we get to the inside, the burr is still on the inside. You can use what we call slips, and what slips do, yeah, there's a slip. This is a slip stone, and this just rubs on the inside. But if you don't have a slip, which most of you won't have, just take a piece of wood like this, drop a piece of leather onto here, polish it, coat it with the abrasive like this, and then grip the two in the vise. I just happen to have a piece of leather offcut that I can use, and so you'll find a piece of a couch or anything that will work. And then pull this up so that it stretches the leather onto the surface, cinch it tight, make sure you've got abrasive over the whole of the surface, and then press this, drop it right into here, and that's removing the burr, and it's also polishing that inside edge. So now I have a gouge that's fully sharpened. Let's see what we've got. That's how I would do it. I would use a broom handle or anything that's round, and you can also make a hollow, a round, whatever you want. So here, let's see, the fastest way I know of to carve a spoon, hollow, so there, you can go across the grain with it, and that's how I would sharpen out a gouge. Large, small, it's all pretty much the same, so that works well. I've got a strop holder here, just a piece of wood. I can wrap this on here, and you can do many sizes. The radius doesn't have to be the exact same size. Here's a narrower radius. You can go even smaller. Once you get to this size, you may want to go with a broom handle if that works. So here's a broom handle. That fits the radii just fine, so you could wrap it around a broom handle. A rolling pin, anything you want, that works. Another method that I use extensively, I probably use this more than maybe the side method of rolling here. I might do a figure of 8. This works very well for me. I've practiced it for a long time, and it goes very quickly. And this is where we start with the corner of the gouge on the stone here, and we move across here, and we're rolling it like this into this figure of 8, and this is called a figure of 8 sharpening. And as you practice this, you can gain speed. So you can see the bubbles show the figure of 8. And work the whole bevel. So we start at this higher point here and then drop, drop, drop. Now you might want a long, slender one, which means you have to take a lot of steel off this heel. Once you get the rhythm going, it works so well. Go to the next one. So start like this, work across. Now you don't have to go as much on that second level and the third level either. You just keep going. This is taking out the abrasive levels to a polished level here, and that's it. And I have a burr across the whole of the inside of here. I'm going to polish out as I did before on here. Now let me do this one with the hollow in here, then you can see that one as well. Now obviously the hollow is hard to get the leather down into, but you don't have to get the leather down into it. Just pull it tight like that, and then drop your bevel in here, work it around that hollow. And you're polishing out the bevel again. It's coming nicely. You can flip over, leather onto this side, into the vise, pull it just so it pinches, and pull it up, if it will pull, like this. And again, you've got your bevel. Your bevel's polished. Now we're on the inside, and we're just basically removing the burr from this inside. And that works perfectly. Now it may transfer, as it did in this case, no burr on the inside, transferred it to the outside. You may want to go back to this strop, but usually with gouges, as soon as you start to create a scallop, that burr will break off here very fast, effective. And of course, there are many actions with gouges that we use in carving that may not be as easy as this one, but that's basically my spoon carved, and that's how I would sharpen a gouge. One of those two methods works great.